Hi, welcome to Midpointe, a place where we can share encouragement from last Sunday's sermon at Crosspoint Church. I'm just sitting outside today. I subbed a half day. I'm a substitute teacher when I'm not leading music at church. And so I was able to come home early, even. It was like one period I had to sub, and it worked out that I could come home early. So I'm just sitting out here, sitting with one of my cats here. This is technically a stray, but I've been trying to befriend it, so I was able to kind of grab its tail, not yank, but like just touch its tail just now. So there's progress. This last Sunday was Easter, so Pastor preached on the resurrection and how the resurrection proves some things. It proves that Jesus was the prophet. It proves that Jesus is judge and our hope. It proves that Jesus is God. There might have been another one in there that it proves that he mentioned. So if you remember that one, put it in the comments. So I'm thinking about the resurrection and how it is such, I don't want to say a pivotal moment, but the pivotal moment in our faith, in Christianity, in everything. All of time. It made me think of once the disciples saw and realized that Jesus rose from the dead. If it were a modern day movie, at that point there would probably be a flashback of all the things that Jesus said that now make perfect sense, or all the things in the Old Testament that have led up to Jesus dying and rising from the dead and being the Messiah. So I sent out a text to some of my friends saying, like, what would be in that flashback? And some of the responses was when Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life. Or when he said, tear this temple down and in 3 days I will rebuild it. The disciples were probably like putting all that together and realizing, oh wow, this is real. This changes everything. And probably even things like tons of the stories, the prophecies in the Old Testament were suddenly starting to make sense. They probably had a lot of Psalms in their head where they're like, that was talking about Jesus. This is definitely all the pieces are falling into place. So they knew who Jesus was, like to an extent. Of course, they're thinking he's the Messiah. Before he dies, before he's risen from the dead, they're thinking this is the Messiah. I mean, that's why they were following him. There's so many prophecies about the Messiah. All the Jews knew about this stuff, and they were all looking forward to the Messiah. So I get this picture in my head of like a prophecy, like saying he'll be born of a virgin. That is just like hovering here, and once that applies to someone, it will zoom to them. Is this making sense? I am a very visual person, so I try to come up with things, visual representations to make sense of things. But anyway, all these prophecies, so many prophecies, just kind of here, and once they apply to someone, and I get this image of the disciples. They're walking with Jesus, and some of the things, they're like, okay, this could apply to this guy. He's saying a lot of things that, like, even Jesus himself saying stuff like, I and my Father are one, or stuff like that. I mean, it's pretty obvious what he's claiming, but still there's probably just not quite, they're not, how do I say this? They're not fully trusting in him as the Messiah. Like, even when he died, they were probably thinking, I guess it wasn't him. Like, he's gone now. There was all these things he was supposed to do. They even have these preconceived notions, like he's supposed to lead Israel, like, in battle to, set them free from the bondage of the Romans. And they're like, that never happened, and he died now, so. But then, once he rose from the dead, probably all these things started clicking. And they started to have a better understanding of, like, we thought he was going to be this epic military leader, but it's not that. He did go into battle and conquer, but it was something way more important than what we thought. It was death and sin itself. So at that moment, they're probably having this flashback of like, oh, that makes sense what he said, that makes sense what he said. And then all the prophecies that are kind of just hanging there waiting to be attached to someone, they all zoom to Jesus. And wow, what that must have been something. Like, doesn't it make you think of like in a movie when it's like, here's the twist at the end of the movie, here's all, and then it shows you all the things that you missed in the movie that like lined up with that twist. Not that Jesus being Messiah is supposed to be a gotcha moment, but you get what I'm saying. It's so epic. And so going back to what Pastor was talking about, the resurrection is so important because it proves that Jesus is the Messiah. It proves everything. Everything works because of the resurrection. It's like the last cog in a machine, the last gear, and then everything starts spinning and working. It all hinges on that. That's why we celebrate. That's why we're so excited about Easter, about Jesus rising from the dead. Because now our faith works. Now, like, if Jesus didn't rise from the dead, it would have been tons of promises from Jesus, but then they never came true. But they came true in an epic way. He's alive. So now we can share in all the things he said. All the things he said are true now, which is huge. Jesus said some bold, authoritative things and some wonderful promises. So that's all true now. There were some good verses that my friend shared. Of course, I'm recording on my phone, so I can't look them up right now. But here's some references. These would be great to look at, and it really lines out. Like, I think one of them even says something like, and then Jesus explained, yeah, this is what I meant. And the disciples realized, oh, this is all these things. Okay, yeah. We didn't get it before, but we definitely do now. The cat's gone now. I think it might be in the bush, actually. But I'll keep you posted on my how I'm coming along with befriending the cats around here. I have this little house for them. It's an old TV that has a little cat bed in it. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know how your Easter went. I hope you're able to celebrate either with us at church or with family or friends, or just by yourself. Just sitting. I mean, that's what I'm doing right here. Just sitting and reflecting on how epic the story is of Jesus. So epic. Anyway, as always, share your thoughts down below. And until next time, God bless.